All right, good afternoon, team. Well, good evening. It's our usual Sunday prep. Haven't did one in a while, probably about 2 weeks, not that long. But I usually like to go over things when I see something significant. If I don't go over the markets, it's because nothing has really changed for me. My bias remains the same, and I'm always gonna be neutral as price works. So to start it off, we're gonna use ES. Basically, I like to watch ES overnight to see to see what to expect going into the weekend. Into the week. Sorry about that. So I'm going to do my usual fibs. That's how I start, high to lows. My fibs are customed. You can customize them to whatever works for you. I like mine the way they are. I adjust them over the months as price changes, to be honest. And so far, everything lines up. This is a 12-hour. I use this every 2 days. I like to view it. I like to see where we are. And I go between the 12 and the 4-hour. I like the smaller time frames. I use the bigger time frames midweek and earlier in the week. I like to see where we close, 4D, 2D. Those are my favorites. So I'm using the retracement tool, but I also like to use an extension tool inside of that retracement tool. The extension tool helps me grasp on short-term moves. I like to see what price is going short-term. So I'm doing a low to high, back down to low, this double bottom here. So we basically got into the let's not complicate or overcomplicate our trading by overtrading. Overtrading is not necessary. If you can be done before the day even begins, why not just stop there? There's no point in overstaying your welcome because that causes us to overtrade and there are more losses. So here what I'm doing is I'm using rectangles, basically just marking areas of interest from when price moved off those levels. Below here, you can see this double bottom. Get my annotation. So here we got 41.29.56. Got a nice double bottom here. This was a nice long trigger. No breakdown below that. Lines up with this move here. So first test from this low, we rejected at the 43.84 level. Came right back down. We tested the 41.52 level, which was the first bottom. We came back up, tested 43.26, but more importantly, 42.88. That is here. Price has remained in here. From that rejection, we came back and we tested that 41.29 and created a double bottom. From there on, price had advanced above the 14, the 20, the green, which is green, the 30, which is orange, and continued advancing higher. As price goes on, we start to look at these as supports now as they were acting resistance prior. So with that being said, the next thing I do is I like to see, okay, price is at a rejection area or resistance area where had previously rejected at 45.33 here, as well as here, got a double top. And now we're working off of a double bottom. Now this is the real test. I'm gonna clear this up. I'm gonna show you guys the bigger picture. So I'm gonna get rid of this. Pay attention. I'm gonna use a simple trend line. I'm just gonna bring that trend line all the way down here. And this was a very important trend line. This trend line lined up with one of my important key levels, 42.87. Now, once you got above there, automatically that's when the 14.30 and 20 crossed. We got above 43.84, and then we tested 45.33. Now that was a previous support. Then it became a resistance here and also here. And now we are here. If anything, you have 44.80, which is your 14 SMA. You have your 20 SMA, which is 44.30. And then you have your 30 SMA, which will line up around 43.84.37, or rounding to the quarter, 43.84.25. So this would be your next support if price does retest. And what would happen here? There are two different scenarios that can occur from here. And I'm looking at this bearish and bullish. But to look at it both ways, you're basically neutral. So you're basically playing whichever side makes the most sense and how that corresponds with price. Now here, if we continue to reject 45.33, I can see a possible right shoulder forming, which would be a test of 42.87. From there, I can see us bouncing back and retesting that 45.33. And if we do break above that, that confirms an inverted head and shoulder. And I'll show you exactly where the head is. Left shoulder. And this would be potential right shoulder. And this is your head. Let me clear those levels. Let me clear that now, those arrows. Now tonight, overnight, we're going to be testing this area. It's going to be very important. These are going to be your levels to watch this week. 43.84, 45.33. These red marks you see are monthlies. These are monthly expiries. So 4/15 is the next monthly expiry. When I'm going into a trade, I look at every possible outcome. Short, long. Here, I would start a small short. But I'm going to tell you what makes me not even think about shorting here. This is just a 12-hour chart. We have inside candles. We are inside the previous 12-hour. Slightly like a candle combo. For those that don't know what a candle combo is, it's basically an inside candle. It's an engulfing candle with an inside candle to follow. This would be a candle combo. These are candle combos. This is also a candle combo. Can be rejected as well. This is another candle combo. And like I would tell people, this is another candle combo that's been rejected, but this candle combo happened at a resistance level. So it was either breakout here or fell and retest. This was a candle combo under the 14.30 and 20. This could have been bullish if it held, and we basically got above 42.87. This is also an inside candle here. When I'm looking at charts, I look at every single thing, every possible thing. When this started here, this were inside candles created into a hot dog. But after this, I want to focus. I want to point this one out. So here, this candle right here, we're going to focus on this one right here. Now, first thing I do is look at it and I'm like, okay, I see what happened to price after that candle. So you have here, this is the price. The price has remained in this candle until it broken out. You see that? And then we broke out, then we retested that resistance here at 45.33. A lot of people overlook everything. They look at, I mean, this is why it's not good to basically be on Twitter and looking at everybody's opinions. I like to use them like, okay, I see what you're seeing, but you're seeing it, you're not following price. What you're actually following is you want to be right. You want to sound right, or you want the position to work. You want your position to make sense. So this is why you're in that. Me, that's not how I trade. I like the setup. I like where it's at. My levels are held. My levels are basically supporting price. I'm either going to go long rather than go short. So I'm going to open up a 2D. Why am I opening up the 2D? I like to look at the 2-day when it's ending, as well as when it begins. So the 2D started Friday, it ends tomorrow. When I watch this candle and I watch this level, any back test, we're looking at 44.36. That is the 30 SMA here, your orange level. That is your support. Under that is a 43.84, which corresponds to the 14 and the 20, which is the 20 is green, purple is 14. This is why SPY is very easy for me to trade. I use ES all the time because ES basically lets me know what's going to happen the next day and what to be prepared for when the market opens, whether it's a gap down or a gap up. I'm going to show you some areas of support or areas of importance here. It's the previous breakout level here. So I'm going to take that, this range. Price is basically supporting this area too. So it's got to make sense. You have flags on top of flags. So here, let me go, let's start from the small to the big. This was a flag. That flag broke out, then it retested inside of this flag. So it came all the way out. Created a new flag. This is considered a flag, another flag. That flag then broke out too, but it also came up upon some resistance. So we're going to retest that area. So what we do, we bring that down. Now we're inside all these inside candles here. Your key level to watch is 45.33, not 93, always rounded to the nearest quarter. So it would be 45.34. Your support, 14, 20, and 30. We're going to be inside here. That corresponds between 45.01 and 44.84. That would be your support. If price comes back down on the overnight, we would like to see that 14 and 20 hold, bounce there, retest 45.34, and then we head for 46.69.95. If we keep getting rejection here, I would look for a short midway of between basically the average of 45.33 and 43.84. So somewhere around here would be a nice short opportunity. So 44.50 to 44.75. I wouldn't overly be short and I wouldn't overly be long because right now price is in a neutral zone. Now we're looking at the weekly. Had some big ranges, some nice up days. So let's go into the weekly. Monthly is also ending. Keep that in mind. This is your weekly. We have a candle combo weekly. I am 1,000% long. Why? Because we have a candle combo weekly, 14 and 30 support. If that can hold, I remain long. So you can play the downside to the 30 SMA. Once we cross this 45.33, there's no such thing as shorting. Why I say that? There's no point to short. Sorry, correction. Why there's no point to short? Because now we are crossing 14 and 30, as well as 20. Price, that's going to be our new support. You don't even have to draw levels. But if your levels correspond to the 14 and 30, which mines are doing right here, I'm going to highlight that. Let's use the box highlighter. As you can see here, this is 14, 20, and 30. Price remains inside there. So once we get above this 45.33, possibly can happen this week. If not, that's okay. We're expecting an inside week. When you have an inside week, all you can really do is scalp until the bottom is put in or the top is put in. So now I want to focus on One of the plays that we used to play a long time ago. I want to talk about BYND. I want to talk about the other core plays because they already are up nicely, and not the fact that they are up nicely. They already are in the money, and we already have runners left on the table. So in correspondence to the weekly on SPY or ES, you have an inside weekly for BYND. Last week had some low volume on a Friday, very low volume. I paid attention to it all day as far as the previous volume. When you see significant volume at a bottom or near an area of interest where you are looking to get long, especially its all-time lows, you start looking at long-term setups. I like this long-term setup here. This is actually a channel. It has been fighting with the 14 SMA. The first overshoot above the 14 with price, I see a bottom in. So that's 51.97. The reason we took the 52 calls for next week. Why? Wait, sorry. They don't update. I just keep forgetting that they don't. So it's an inside week for ES, which last week was an inside week for BYND. So if ES goes inside this week, then BYND should go either inside up or inside down. If this 51.97 breaks, first target is 55.90. That is the 14 SMA. The reason I chose the 52 calls for next week, why? Because the resistance is 51.97. I love to buy resistance. I like to test resistance. I like to buy time with resistance. The best play here is to go a month out. A month out within, you can use this range from this 35.74 low, this weekly candle. That was a 16-point range. Half of that is 8 points. To be safe, I like to do 4. I like to do half of that as well. So 4 points from whatever close. That last week was a 6-point range. This week we can expect an 8 to 12-point range. How do I figure this stuff out? You're just using candle ranges. You're using average. People use programs. They use technicals. They use certain technicals that do that for them. Me, I'd rather do it the manual way. It's easier to read. I don't need true average range. I don't need that. So we're gonna see this bottom hold at 51.87. This is your weekly setup. Remember with, I'm gonna actually do a side-by-side chart. I'm gonna show you guys something. I'm gonna use Rivian. When we found that bottom, we played that the long side. Let me put Rivian over here. The white chart, too bright. Sorry about that. Let's regard this BYND chart here. I don't want to see, I can't do the side by side because I got to change my, what you call it, my chart preferences. So here we go. Rivian. Similar setup. What I mean by a similar setup, potential bottom is in. We got a candle combo weekly. This could be very important here though. What has to hold this week is 45.01. So if we do open above, that's not a bad sign. That's actually a good sign. It's very possible we can open down and break below, but you have to be prepared for that. And another thing where I look at everything. I can tell you guys, inside here, we are still inside this candle until we break out this range from 47.23 to 39.25. The price remains neutral. Whether you catch a bottom, you bought more time. You need to buy anything beyond May if you're looking to go long. If you're shorting for this setup to fail, April is your best friend. For a retest double bottom is possible too. I like to give you both sides, but whatever side you take, just because I go long doesn't mean you can't short. And just because I short doesn't mean you can't go long. Another thing, Rivian doesn't have its 14, 20, and 30s. Okay, so pay attention to that. The 14 is actually showing now but the 20 and 30 has not developed yet on the weekly chart. But if you look at the daily chart, 14, 20, and 30 has held. We're looking for, we can see a nice hot dog here. I would like to see a retest of the 14 SMA, which that is showing 46.12. We closed at 46.16. But I like to just see this 45.01 hold, and I like to see an inside up breaking 48.51. And I want to see a test of 50, 56 to 51.82 this week. The real test is going to be 53.26. That's going to be very important. So that's the daily for Rivian comparison to BYND. BYND tends to run on its own sometimes, and it decouples from the market. What I like about BYND, the 14, 20, and 30 has been holding here. It's more spread out. Price has built inside of it. Now price is finding support. Also, price is flagging. You guys know the plan every day. If you can be done within 30 minutes of the market, no need to overtrade. We want to see this hold here. Even a gap down happens anywhere around here. That sets us, what is this level here? 46.84. That will bring 14 and 20 up to speed, closing this gap between the 20 and the 30. Then when price finds that as support, we get over 51.97. That was an important rejection level. We have a nice cup and handle. This is our handle, which is the flag. Getting above that 51.97. Our next levels above would be 74.10. I'm looking because you guys know BYND can have big moves. And the reason why I'm feeling this bottom is in as this trend is building, we have a gap to fill around 90.80. When is that going to happen? I do not know. I'm not going to be that guy to say, oh, but this is why you buy time. If you buy time, it should not matter. You play it and play it and play it until it stops paying in that direction. Everybody has billions of lines and technicals on a chart. I used to be there. I'm not gonna lie, that was me when I first started out. And then I got so much headaches because all my technicals, they were clashing. I had to take them off and do one by one. I did with Keltner, I did with 14, 20, 30 SMA by themselves, FIDs by themselves. And when I saw that some worked, some didn't, that's when I started basically easing off, showing so many technicals on one chart. So I just focus on support and resistance, 14, 20, and 30 in Keltner channels, only when price is outside of the lower Kelt or basically just crossing the middle Kelt as well. If it's way outside of the upper Kelt, it's a nice short opportunity. But here we have been finding nothing but resistance. Can a bottom possibly be in? It's very possible. We will know somewhat this week. Let me duplicate this. Let me bring this down. Here, get the middle. Right around there. Fixing this to gap. There we go. I look at everything. Look at this. Possible similar to price. Expecting a nice move on BYND as well. Here, price was way outside. 14 to 30 before rejection. This was the range. It was a month move. Duplicate that just to get an idea if this was bottom. And this was a month move from bottom after bottoming or building below at the bottom. We're looking at 90 around May. But we need something big. We got to get above 74.10. That's going to be very important. But we got to close that gap at 90.80. Trend has been down for a while in BYND. Basically over a year. From hitting the top 224.53. It's just been coming down. Channeling, coming down. This is bottom. This is why I'm looking at Pepsi. I'm looking at BYND. I'm looking at those typical stocks. They usually trade in sync. If one doesn't move, the other one does. Pepsi was a home run for us. That one paid well. BYND's up next. So I just wanted to keep this as simple as possible for you guys. What I will be doing is like I do. I'm doing $500 account in my E-Trade this week. And the goal is take what I can get. If I'm using either 50%, 10%, depending on the trade setup, majority of the trades will possibly be SPY. Goal is to basically trade at least $100 worth or $200 worth of that account on same day expiries. Playing the morning, that would be the first trade, and then playing the afternoon on the same day expiry, where I like to get long or short when I feel like a spike is gonna happen or a big drop is gonna happen. And I'm telling you, you can make all your money just from trading SPY, long or short. But definitely keep in mind of price action this week. Try to be neutral mentally when you're trading and look at both sides. Don't try to just be short because you want to be right. Don't try to be long because you want to be right. Just trade so you can be consistent. That's the goal. Remain consistent. Take what the market gives you and keep it moving. That was the biggest lesson I learned too. I learned that from many, I don't even know if I can say even losses. I left a lot on the table. I mean, I know a lot of us do that all the time. But that's the main two things I wanted to focus on. I like to focus on things that have a nice long-term setup. And since we're in a downtrend channel, we still got to complete the rest of this channel. So what we're going to do, the rest of that channel is sitting here. So we're looking at something like this. Because it's around 60. That corresponds with May. So May 18th or the 22nd, seeing 60, if we can hold this 48, this flag here, this small channel right here, break above that 51.97, and we should vacuum very quickly. I can add Keltners to this too. I'm gonna bring my three ladies in here. Where are you? Quick study. Nope, not quick study. Where are you? Load study set. Here we go. There we go. So on a daily BYND, we are rejecting the upper Kel. So it makes more sense to come back to the middle Kel. Now on the weekly, let's see what we got there. Now on the weekly, we just closed right above off the lower Kel. So your first target is going to be 61.02, which is middle Kel. And that can happen within a week or two. And that is our target in calls as well. Hence, I said end of month for April, could be beginning of month for May. But 60 calls are a safe bet. 100 calls for September are another safe bet. Anything over 90, 80, you see in 118.57. BYND back over 200 around 2024 or 2020, next year, 2023. Very possible. I can see a lot happening with this company, but it's paid a lot for us in the past. So I wanted to keep that at that. I'm gonna stop recording.